At some point, one image became the only image, and anything that looked different from that one image felt wrong, felt like a mistake, sometimes felt like an insult. But here's the question that won't leave me alone: what happened to all the others? 300 Ramayanas, at least, all of them the Ramayana. I want to show you what that looks like. This is Kerala, carrying a story that supposedly happened 1,000 miles north of here, in its own body, in its own grammar, in its own eyes. And this is Jharkhand. Same story, different body, different grief. Someone made a decision. Kerala's form carries the interior moments, the abduction, the hope found in darkness. Jharkhand's form carries the war, each body given what it knows best. This is what the tradition actually looks when you let it breathe. Not one body, not one form, not one face, many. But here's what I couldn't stop thinking about. Bharate Khoj didn't just use many forms, it chose a specific story to tell through them, and that choice is everything. This is how the Ramayana begins, not with a king, not with a war, with a poet watching something beautiful being destroyed. His grief came out of him as a curse, and then he noticed the curse had a meter, shloka. Shoka became shloka. Grief became form. Valmiki's shape was an epic, but this show chose to open with that moment. And then, almost immediately, it handed the story to someone else, a playwright named Bhasa. He learns his father is dead through stone, not through a messenger, not through his mother's words, through a statue in a gallery of the departed. The play is called the Pratima Natakam, the play of statues, written by a Sanskrit playwright named Bhasa. And in Bhasa's telling, something the audience expects never arrives: the two boons, Kaikeyi's demands, Dashrath's promise, the machinery that drives the entire exile. They are never mentioned. Ramchandraji goes to the forest, Dashratha dies, Bharat returns to find everything broken. But no one schemed, no one manipulated. It simply happened. Bhasa was the only writer in the entire tradition who consistently refused to condemn his so called villains: Kaikeyi, Ravana, Duryodhana, Karna. In his plays, they are not evil, they are people the story needed to carry something unbearable. The Sanskrit word is karuna, compassion, not sympathy, not forgiveness. The capacity to see a person fully, even when the story has already decided what they are. Bharat is standing in a room full of statues, and he still has to decide who he will be. This is Bhasa's rasa, his dominant note, and Bharatik Khoj built his version of Ramayana on it. You know what you're supposed to feel here: Bharat confronting the woman who destroyed his family. But watch her, not what she did, not what she said, just her face carrying it. In Bhasa's telling, she never asked for the boons. The exile happened, Dashrath died, her son returned to find her blamed for everything, and she let him. This is not a portrait of a villain. This is the portrait of someone who understood that the story needed a place to put its pain, and she became that place. And then his son, Bharat, who could have taken everything, takes nothing. He places Ramchandraji's sandal on the throne, governs as a servant, waits 14 years. Look at what Bhasa did here. Mother and son, both inside the same impossible situation, both making the same choice to carry what the story needed someone to carry, without being asked, without being thanked. That is karuna, not a feeling, a way of being in a story that has already decided that you are wrong. Most tellings need a villain. Bharata's Pratima Natkam needed something harder. People who bore the cost so the story could go somewhere larger. Vali asked Ramchandraji a question: what right did you have? He was fighting his brother, not you. You shot from hiding, from concealment. What dharma permitted this? This moment exists in Valmiki too, but here, through Bhasa's Abhishek Natakam, it lands differently. Because Bhasa had spent the entire story refusing to flatten anyone. So when Vali asks the question, it isn't the complaint of a defeated enemy, it's a legitimate grievance. Vali is not Aryan. His world, the forest, the Vanaras, Kishkinda, exists outside the moral and cultural framework Ramchandraji operates within. He is being killed by a set of rules he was never part of, and he knows it. Bhasa doesn't resolve this. There is no clean answer in the text. There is no clean answer anywhere in the tradition. This telling doesn't give you one either. It just stays in the room with Vali until he is gone. A tradition confident enough to let its hero be questioned without flinching, without rushing to defend him, is not a weak tradition. It's an honest one. Bhasa gave karuna to the story's condemned figures. Bharat Khoj extends it further. Sitaji is arguing that the forest tribes here have as much right to this land as the sages asking Ramchandraji to protect them. This scene is not in Bhasa, it is not in Valmiki. It is Bharat Khoj asking, what did Sitaji see that no one else was saying? And the Rakshasas, not demon here, people with their own sovereignty, their own claim on the forest. The conflict isn't good versus evil, it is two worlds and no clean answer about which one is right. And Shurpanakha, she is humiliated, mutilated, and she takes that wound and makes it into something that cannot be ignored. She doesn't weep, she argues, she reframes, she makes her grief count. 3 moments, none of them in Bhas, all of them in the same spirit. Bharat Khoj wasn't just staging ancient plays, it was continuing them, asking the questions the previous tellers didn't or couldn't ask. This is what the tradition does when it is alive. It doesn't stop at the last telling, it picks up where the last grief left off. One day, Ramchandraji was sitting on his throne. His ring fell off. When it touched the earth, it made a hole in the ground and disappeared into it. He said to Hanumanji, find it. Hanumanji took on a tiny form and went down the hole. He went and went and went and fell into the netherworld, the Patal Lok. When Hanumanji finally reached the king of spirits showed Hanumanji a platter. On it, thousands of rings. They were all Rama's rings. Pick out your Rama's ring and take it, he said. They were all exactly the same. I don't know which one it is, said Hanuman, shaking his head. The king of spirits said, there have been as many Ramas as there are rings on this platter. When you return to earth, you will not find Ramchandraji. This incarnation of Rama is now over. Whenever an incarnation of Rama is about to be over, his ring falls down. I collect them and keep them. So here we are, arguing about what color his skin should be, what his face should look like, whether his telling is legitimate and whether that one is an insult. The core of this story across every language, every dance form, every bare stage, every playwright who has ever felt a grief they couldn't hold inside is the same thing. Grief rising into hope. Sitaji lost, Sitaji found. The conviction that if you hold your dharma, something on the other side will hold you. That's what it has always been. Not a face, not a costume, not a particular shade of blue. As long as there is sun and moon, the Ramayana will be told. Every generation will find their grief in it, will make their form from it. Who are we to stand at the door of that tradition and say, not like that, only like this? Hanumanji couldn't pick the ring. Neither can we.